wondering why my husband isn't as affectionate as he once used to be.
Ew! Get off of me! Ugh, as if!
Yep, it's a slow and painful death for a man, and it starts right there. As soon as you start acting like you're doing him a favor, he's done. A lot of men will continue to trudge on through to make the marriage work, but after years of rejection, he is going to stop trying. And not a lot of women are going to have this level of self-awareness to realize that's why.
Yeah, it's very sad when women start treating their own husbands like they're disgusting, like they've got some contagious disease. Ooh, don't touch me, don't kiss me. It breaks men, many for whom physical touch is one of the primary means of receiving and giving affection. It's their love language. It makes them feel unworthy, makes them feel depressed, and they shut down. I don't know if women are conscious of this, but there's only so much rejection a man can handle. But here's the million-dollar question. If these men are so unhappy, why don't they just get a divorce? Why do they stay in the marriage? Sadly, the reason is because this is what he expected. Of course he's unhappy in his marriage. He never expected it to be otherwise. You see these are designed to be funny, but they do reveal the way that men in our culture feel about marriage. He's being dragged into it by the woman. There's no more fun, no more video games, no more watching sport. It's funny because we all inherently recognize that men are somewhat independent creatures. We've got that lone wolf energy. We value our freedom and our independence, and marriage is the end of that. No more bachelor life. Now you got the old ball and chain. Your job is now to serve her, to make her happy. You've got responsibilities now, and if you're lucky, you can play golf once a month. I know that these are stereotypes, like jokes or punchlines, but don't underestimate their power to form the image that men have of marriage in this culture. They shape what men expect in married life, shape our expectations. And the final result is that many men enter into marriage not expecting it to make them happy. They go in expecting it to be a grind, to be a slog, to be hard work, to not have much fun. And one of the reasons I find this so interesting is because women expect the opposite. Have you noticed this? Women don't view marriage in the same way, expecting it to be hard work or a grind where they're going to have to sacrifice their own happiness for their husbands. No, when women enter into marriage, they expect it's going to serve her interests. They expect that the marriage is going to make her happy. It's their fairy tale ending. It's safety, it's security, it's true love. They grow up believing that they're going to find their man, they're going to get married, and then they're going to live happily ever after. That's their love story. But with those feminine expectations comes very predictable consequences.
Did you know that in hetero relationships, 80% of divorces are initiated by women? And that number jumped to about 90% for college-educated women.
I have seen women claim that this statistic, that 80% of divorces being initiated by women, is proof that men are pathetic and useless and terrible partners in a marriage. That's why women are divorcing en masse. You also see graphs like this that show that women are thinking about leaving their partners way more than men are. You can see there that 20% of married women thought about calling it quits last year, compared with only 13% of men. And for cohabitating couples, about 40% of women considered ending their relationship, compared with only 25% of men. So isn't this proof that men are useless, that they're acting terribly in relationships? That's why women are desperate to get out? No, that's definitely not the whole story. What this data is actually proving is how different the expectations for men and women are when it comes to marriage. Like I said, women get married expecting it to make them happy. They want their happily ever after. They want their fairy tale ending. It's a very me, self-centered view of marriage. This relationship exists for me to make me happy, and if I'm not happy, then it's over. We're done.
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you. You're not doing him any favors by staying. If anything, you're actually going to start building up resentment. Your relationship doesn't have to be toxic to validate your feelings of wanting to leave.
This is how a lot of women view it. I want to leave, and that's all there is to it. I mean, it's not toxic, it doesn't treat me badly, but I want to leave, so I will. The only point of marriage is my happiness, so if I'm not happy, then it's done. That's the only justification I need in order to leave. But that is not how men view marriage. They don't expect it to make them happy. Really, they sort of expect marriage to make them miserable. Men seem to understand that getting married is something that you do to make her happy. It's the woman's happiness that is important.
Are you married?
Yes.
How long have you been married?
25 years.
Wow, that's amazing. What's your advice for couples that are looking to have a long and healthy relationship?
Listen to your wife. Whatever she says goes.
How did you learn that lesson?
2 failed marriages. 3rd one I learned.
You think that's the reason that the last two failed?
Yes.
How long have both of you been married?
Like 11 years old.
Since you were 11 years old?
Yeah, from Cuba.
So what would be your advice for a long and healthy marriage?
Do what she say. That's it. Trust me. That's it. Don't do anymore. Don't even think anymore. She say something, you make it.
How long have you been married?
42 years.
What's your advice for a long and healthy marriage?
The wife is always right.
I've gotten a few of those already.
What's your advice?
The wife is always right.
Are you two married?
Yes.
50 odd years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for a long and healthy relationship?
Be considerate of each other's wants and needs and never argue about money.
She's the boss.
How did you learn that?
Over time.
You've just got to be kind to each other and realise each other's wants and needs.
That's beautiful. Okay.
Still the boss.
Not at all.
That last woman who said you got to be kind to each other and listen to each other's wants and needs. I mean, that sounds good, but no, that's not what she means. When she says that, what she means is he has to listen to my wants and needs. You think she spends any time thinking about him, what she can do to make him happy, what she can sacrifice for his benefit? No chance. Women don't think about men's happiness. It's not something that they consider. They're almost incapable of it. And there's two reasons for this. I'm going to talk about those in a moment, but first I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Tish Hanley. So how would you rate the quality of your skin? Is it high? Is it low? Do you not really think about it or notice? Well, let me tell you who does notice whether you have good skin or not. And that's women. First impressions count for a lot, and having good skin makes you look younger, healthier, and more attractive. That's why I love partnering with Tish Hanley, because this is a skincare company that is specifically created for men. They make developing a skincare routine so easy. Their starter box comes with everything that you need. You've got your AM cream, your PM cream, your facial scrub, your daily moisturizer. You barely have to think because it comes with an instruction card that tells you how much to use and when to apply it. Having a skincare routine couldn't be more simple, and if you live inside the US, they'll even ship it directly to your door for free. People love this product. Check out their recent reviews from their website. Love it. My skin looks young and healthy. 5 stars. Tish Hanley is the best men's skincare company by far. It's easy to use, effective, and doesn't dry your skin. I highly recommend it for all men. 5 stars. Because Tish Hanley is sponsoring this video, if you order now, not only are you going to get Tish Hanley at 30% off, but they're going to throw in a free gift as well. Don't put it off. It's time to sort out your skincare, and Tish Hanley can help you do it. Okay, back to the 2 reasons why women don't think about a man's happiness. The first reason is biological. There's a sort of hierarchy of care that exists in human societies where the men look after the women and the women look after the children. Dads do have an important role in a child's upbringing, but typically mum is the primary caregiver. This is especially true when she's breastfeeding. She has to have all her focus on that child. It's an intense job, but her focus on the child, it's normal, that's natural, that's beautiful, that's what you want. One of the reasons why men are so attracted to feminine women is because we know they're going to make great mothers, which we want for our children. We want to see that she's focusing on children. And while she's doing that, dad's role is about taking care of her, protecting her, providing for her, helping her out so that she can do a better job. So that's the natural hierarchy. That's how it flows. And so you can see it doesn't come naturally for women to think about men. They're expecting the men to be taking care of them. So when women meet men, they don't have thoughts of, how can I serve this man? How can I protect him? How can I provide for him? No, like that's not what women think. They think the opposite. What can this man do for me? Now that's the biology, but there's also a cultural reason. Now back in the day when things were more patriarchal and traditional, women did serve men. You know, he goes to work and provides money for the household, and when he gets home, he gets a massage and a hot meal. There's a reciprocity, and she's thinking of ways that she can do nice things for him, ways to serve him. But a lot of that was cultural, you know, it's about this idea of being like the good Christian wife who's obedient to her husband. But the culture has shifted massively since then. Modern women aren't encouraged to think about the ways to serve their husband. That just sounds all like sexist and old-fashioned. No, modern women have been subject to decades of propaganda telling them that they're amazing, that they're goddesses, that they're unique and special, and that they need to find a man who can see how incredible they are and who's happy to serve her. She doesn't think about what she can do to make men happy. No, men are disgusting, awful creatures who are lucky to be in the presence of a woman like herself. These cultural pressures exacerbate the already existing biological instincts, which tell her that it's not her job to make him happy. That's not her responsibility responsibility. She's the one who should be receiving things from him. It makes me so sad to see these broken men with no spine, no balls, no dignity. You can see in their faces and in their responses that when they entered into a marriage, they never expected to be happy. They never believed that was going to occur. They go into marriage expecting to be miserable, expecting to just exist to serve her needs. But because men's expectations are that marriage is going to be a really tough, difficult thing that they're going to have to slog through, that's actually the reason why so few men see divorce coming. It's why they get taken by surprise. They get blindsided. Let me explain what I mean. Do you understand that you right now watching this video, subscribing to my channel, you are rare. You are an exception because you are taking time to try and understand how women think. You understand not many men do that. They just blindly go through life. They don't take the time to properly educate themselves about the way that women are different from men, how they have different instincts, different priorities, different modes of operation. But not educating themselves about the differences between men and women comes massively at their own detriment. Because here's what happens. A man and a woman get married and the man is miserable, and that fits with his expectations. Oh yeah, I expected to be miserable. This is a marriage. And so he sort of settles into a tolerable level of misery. He assumes that because that's the way that he's approaching the marriage, that his wife must be approaching things the exact same way, not realizing that she had very different expectations for a marriage. She wasn't expecting to be miserable. She's expecting to be happy and joyous. She didn't sign up for misery. She wants to be happy. And when there's no happiness for her in the marriage, she divorces him. And he's completely shocked. Like, oh my God, I can't believe she left just because we were unhappy. That makes no sense. He says, what about our commitments? What about our vows? What about our joint assets? What about our diminished quality of life that will occur if we split up? What about our children? They need two parents. How can you even consider divorce just because you're unhappy? That was his mistake. That was his oversight. He didn't understand how important it is for women to be happy in a marriage. At least these guys in the video here, they understand that it's his job to keep her happy. And so yeah, she's the boss, whatever she wants. They understand that her happiness is non-negotiable, that she has standards for her own emotional experience of the relationship. And if she's not happy, then she doesn't see the point. She's going to end the relationship. She's going to get divorced. Quite frankly, men have something to learn from women in this regard. Too many men tolerate being miserable in their marriages, and that sucks. Men need to have some standards. Like, if this relationship is not working for me, if not making me happy, then that's not good enough. I shouldn't just tolerate that and accept it. I should work on it. I should change it, or I should leave and find something better. But too many men neglect their own emotions as having any importance. They're like, yeah, I'm unhappy. Yeah, I'm miserable. I kind of hate my wife, but I never expected that to be a reason for us to get divorced. I mean, it's no surprise we live in a culture that completely neglects men's mental health, that demonizes them for having uncomfortable emotions, that completely dismisses the importance of their wants and needs. And so if the culture isn't valuing his experience of the marriage, why should he? But men don't understand that women don't think that way. Women expect happiness out of their relationship. This really is a non-negotiable for women. You need to understand that if she is unhappy, your relationship is likely over. She's not going to stick around just because you would. You ignore this at your own peril. If your wife is unhappy, she will divorce you, and the cost of that is going to be massive.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
Men, please tell me that you're paying attention. You cannot afford to not take this seriously. So what are you saying, Alexander? You're saying we should just be like those men who just say yes to everything their wife wants, just treat her like the boss? Fuck no. Any woman who needs you to chop off your own balls just so she can be happy is not the kind of woman you want to be with. Let me say it like this. Your wife's happiness is not your responsibility. but it is your problem. So what do I mean when I say that her unhappiness is not your responsibility? I mean that you need to avoid any woman who is codependent, any woman who thinks that her unhappiness is a problem for you to solve. Women need to take accountability. It's not your job to make her happy. That's her responsibility. If she's miserable, instead of controlling you and dictating your behavior, she needs to look at her own issues, fix herself. That's not to say that you might not need to make some changes. Like if you're being neglectful or abusive or just generally unpleasant to be around, then you need to fix that. That's on you. Of course she's unhappy. You need to get your shit together, be a decent partner. But she has to meet you halfway. My Hey Hero inbox is filled with stories of men who went to the ends of the earth for their wives, did everything they could to satisfy their partners, and in the end, all their efforts meant nothing. Because when a woman lacks any accountability, then it's just a bottomless pit. So do not marry any woman who doesn't understand the very basic psychology that says that her happiness is her responsibility. But like I said, even though her happiness is her responsibility, it is still your problem. If she's unhappy, then she has the power to make you unhappy too, either in the relationship or by ending the relationship. Nasty divorce, lose half your stuff, access to your children. If she's unhappy in the relationship, do not ignore it. Pay attention. Be proactive. Do not assume that she's just going to be okay being miserable like you would be. No, women are not wired that way. That's not what she's signed up for. And just because you might not be the person that she's got an issue with, that she's identified as the person causing her unhappiness, don't get complacent and think for a moment that one day she might not have her divorced friends whispering in her ear, blaming you for all of her unhappiness, encouraging her to leave you.
I'm telling you, as a divorce lawyer of over 40 years, your wife's friend is telling her how great it is to be free. And you need to watch out because divorce has a ripple effect. When one couple gets divorced, all of their friends are forced to look at their own relationships.
You are the man. You are the leader in the relationship. You are meant to be her rock. If she's unhappy, pay attention, be proactive, talk to her, listen to her, find out what she's going through, and then assist in creating solutions. Help her make changes, make new friends, try a new career, go to therapy. You ignore her unhappiness at your own peril. And just so I'm absolutely clear, I'm not talking about taking the blame for her unhappiness. I'm just talking about showing compassion and care and taking a leadership role in helping her. And I'm going to end this video by making the most important point of all, which is that men, this expectation that you have that marriage is not meant to make you happy, you got to drop that. Stop expecting marriage is going to make you miserable. Stop being okay with that. Have bigger standards. Now, perhaps women are a little bit too self-involved in thinking that their happiness is the only thing that matters in a relationship, but perhaps you're being too self-negligent in thinking that your own happiness doesn't matter at all. There's got to be some reasonable middle ground between total self-sacrifice and utter narcissism. Men, it is okay to expect happiness in a marriage. Otherwise, what's the point? You don't owe any woman a marriage. You don't owe her your time, your money, your commitment. These are things that you voluntarily give a woman. And unless you're trading for something of actual value, like the marriage is working for you, you're deriving a benefit from it, then what's the point? If you're unhappy in the relationship, fix it or leave, find a better one. Marriage can be a wonderful thing. When you find a high quality woman who loves you, who respects you, who treats you well, you have a beautiful pair bonded relationship where you complement the masculine with the feminine and use it to create something incredible. Marriage can just be the pinnacle of what makes life so sweet. What better way to go through life than with an incredible companion who loves you? But if you're not getting that, nothing in the relationship or the marriage is actually making you happy, then I really don't see the point in continuing on as you have been. Make a change or leave and find something better. Now, I want you to check out this graph. This one's really interesting. These are all the different reasons for wanting a divorce by gender. You can pause now and have a look at it if you want. But I found it really interesting to look at this and to see where there's a discrepancy between what women's reasons for wanting divorce are to what a man's reason is. I actually go through a full analysis of this graph in the full length version of this video. So if you want to hear me talk about it, come over to Patreon. That's where I post the full length versions. What you see here on YouTube, these are just shortened, abridged versions. You want to see the full length versions, come over to Patreon.